Okay, guys, thank you so much for making this session. I just started recording. Welcome to the assignment review session. And I hope you guys already had a brief look at the case. I received a couple of emails about the case saying they really love the case. So it really makes me feel so happy because I really spent a few days to really look for a case for you guys. This case is written in May this year, so it's a very fresh new case, and I hope you will enjoy tackling it. All right, so today we will have a look at the general information on the case assessment, information on the case report, and also other important information in order to succeed. The case is already available. You can see it, the questions and the marking criteria as well. And so I just want to make sure, can everyone see the case? I only heard. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. Just want to make sure that. So it's all available, and also the benchmark reports are available. And also we have a warm-up case to do, the Starbucks one. Don't forget about that one. If you have time, you can start from the warm-up case and post some of your answers on Teams. I will have a look at it and give you some brief feedback if you want. And then I will talk about the Starbucks case on Tuesday during our normal collaborate, and also module 3 as well. The reason why is you can have one more time to practice, and also by trying out, how you can actually tackle that case from your own side. When you're looking at the benchmark report, probably it's a different thing from what you are actually doing yourself. All right. So this assessment, the purpose is not about you learning the text by heart, but actually to see how much you understand the frameworks and being able to apply these frameworks and also the tools we are using in our class in the case scenario. The evaluation criteria. So basically, to demonstrate ability to complete a case study of a given company situation using materials covered during this course, as well as insights and skills acquired from your previous courses in your degree. And also what I'm going to have a look at is your analytical skills, logic flow, and consistency of arguments, use of relevant models, frameworks, and the findings of the readings, clarity, proficiency, and structure, present and support of your conclusions, present and support your conclusions and recommendations convincingly, and also use figures, tables, and graphs if they can support the analysis, and also be concise and show your ability to communicate your findings effectively. So, how to tackle the assessment? You already got the questions, right? So basically, what this assignment requires is to use appropriate frameworks and analytical tools to analyze the external and internal environment and come up with some recommendations for Tesla. So, remember to argue for all the choices you make with evidence from the case, and most importantly, put the evidence in the report. So you can include the reference in terms of figures or tables, and also refer to this when you are writing your answer. For example, according to table 1, blah, 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 according to table 2, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to show you a little bit more as this goes. All right, so required research. First of all, you should start from the case. drawing on the information given in the case. This is a relatively new case, so there isn't much newer information available there. But you can also look up basic other information about the firm, country data, etc. But I believe you don't need extensive research because the case is quite comprehensive. And also, I gave you a video link, so you can. I strongly suggest you to watch that video. You can know Tesla's strategies there in the video, and also have more vivid understanding about Tesla's strategy. And also drawing on relevant content, for example, the frameworks, models, theories covered in our joint modules, and from the journal articles, videos, exercises covered in the course. Strategy textbooks are also a good source of information as well. So as I said before, to answer the questions, the information given in each case, I believe, is sufficient enough for you to answer the respective questions. But it doesn't. I don't want to stop you looking for extra information if you have time and if you want to. But I believe you don't need, a lot of time to research for extra information. And the key here is not about listing a large number of references, but rather your ability to apply selected tools and readings that you learn in this course to the case study. So here, as I said before, you don't even need to list any references if you only use the frameworks and the theories covered in this course. Don't worry about references, or you use the information from the case. You don't have to reference the case as well. So only the other frameworks that you want to use, for example, some frameworks you might learn from other courses that you want to use, you think is appropriate. So you should put that type of information in your reference list. And also you can look up what the firm has done since the case was published, which is very recent, probably not much for Tesla. But do not use this knowledge to formulate your responses. I will not stop you to check, if you want to, but try not to look at what Tesla is doing now. It might, have impact on how you might frame your responses. And also remember, what the firms do not always be the best solution. You might come up with better strategies than what Tesla is doing right now, right? Okay, so these are some of the general information for the report structure. Word count 1,500 words in total, plus minus 10%. Please include a cover page when you submit your assignment on Blackboard. There are 3 questions. I think two or three questions. You need to answer it. I need your consent to mark your assignment. So please include the cover page before you submit your assignment. Okay? If you don't include, I cannot mark your assignment. Now, and also answer all the 3 questions. Each question is equally marked. You can see from the marking criteria. So 1,500 words means 500 words per question. And also your reference list will not be counted in the word count. And also anything in the appendix, including your tables, your figures, or the chart that you want to include will not be counted as part of the word count. But you have to clearly mark each of these, and also do not forget to include your appendices in your report. Because in my past experience, there's always some students who have done amazing work but forgot to include it there. So the student might talk about in my table 1, I mentioned this, and this, but there's no table. To just remember, don't forget to include your appendices to prevent forgetting that you can have a table of content, for example. So it will remind you to to always include your appendices in your report. All right. And also for this assignment, please have no more than 3 pages of appendices, 3 questions. So you can have like 1 page per question at the table or something. Actually, if you want to include the table in the body of your report and it doesn't go above the word count, that's fine. So you have a choice to either include the table, in your report, or include the table as a as a appendix. Yes, if you include the table in the report, then it will be included in the word count. So it actually gives you a bit of flexibility. You can decide if you go over the word count, then put it in the appendices. Yeah, so you can decide according to your word count in the end. So here is the body of the report. I recommend you to follow this style. So Times New Roman font 12 1.5 spacing. Just it is nice to read. And also reference style, don't worry too much about that because probably you will not have lots of reference anyway. But if you do, you can use Academy of Management Journal or HBS style or APA or whatever reference style you prefer. It's fine. I'm okay here. So just make sure you keep consistency in the reference style. That's fine. Oh, APA is good. APA is good. Rachel, I'm fine. So any reference style is all right as long as it's consistent. Okay, so here I mentioned again about tables, graphs, and frameworks. Just remember, don't forget to include that. That's something I want to emphasize again and again. And also the font in the table, please not too small that I cannot read. I know sometimes you want to include as much information as possible. That's fine. Slightly smaller than 10, so a font 10 is fine. If you really have lots of information, you can adjust it. But it must be readable. Okay, word count. So the maximum is around 1,650. I will not be too very very strict on that, but please don't go over too much. Keep it around 1,650. Otherwise, it's not fair for students who manage to stay within the one the word count and the pages while you go massively over and have much more information to present. And I prefer to stay within the word count and mark only until how much you need to present. Okay, and remember to answer using key arguments in the body of the report and place additional information into the appendix. For example, you may have lots of things to include. For example, if you use PESTEL framework and also the Porter's 5 forces and extra forces and extra factors that you want to include, but you may not be able to talk about all of the forces and all of the factors in the PESTEL analysis. You can include all of the information in the appendices and only use the key one that you want to use to form your argument. And also, one table, you can use it for evidence of more than one questions. For example, if you include a PESTEL analysis table, you may refer to table 1 when you answer question 1, and again you can refer to table 1 when you answer your question 3. So it's okay to have a bigger table and then you refer to the information when you need to form your arguments. And don't forget to write according to which table, and also insert where the table it should be in your report as well. Okay, so there are some other information in order to succeed. Do not place the case in a different context if the problem of the case of the firm is situated in 1980. But here it's a very fresh case, so it doesn't have a big problem like this. So it's a quite current and a fresh case, so it's a current issue. But just remember not to put the case in a different context. For example, we're talking about Tesla as an automobile company, then we just focus on the car industry. You don't have to talk about other things like solar panels. I know Tesla is also doing that. So only focused on what is written in the context and answer the question according to the U.S. automobile industry. So that's the context of the case. Think twice about what kind of information you want to use and what information is less relevant. Of course, there are lots of information in the case, so you only got 500 words to answer the question. So try to think about what are the main issues that you want to address. Stick to the information given in the case study. And text, additional information from the web or other sources might help you to get an understanding of the overall information, but it can also lead you into false assumptions and ideas about what is right or wrong. So this is basically, again, what I was trying to tell. Just read the case and figure out what are the important issues in the industry and how Tesla positioned itself, what is the opportunities and threats in the environment and in the industry. And also have a look at the internal analysis and think about what are the strengths and weakness of Tesla, what are the core competencies, and how you overall, after you do your analysis, how Tesla actually is performing according to all of these resources and capabilities. And then overall, after all of this external and internal analysis, you can answer question 3 and then provide some suggestions for Tesla. So Richard asked, so you want to go down the sustainability path, then, which is a feature of their cars? Of course you can. So that could be part of your suggestion, but it comes from your analysis. So you analyze the external environment and also the industry analysis. I don't want to give you very, very specific examples. Otherwise, I will tell you. I just try to be open so you can think about. You can very easily link the what happened in the industry to what Tesla probably needs to do in the future. It could be a very good path to go to. Yes, as long as you are staying in within the U.S. Automotive industry, I think that's fine. I'm trying to tell because, and I just realized they are also doing lots of other stuff as well. So just try to keep within this industry. But when you are giving Tesla advice, you can be open to anything, because that's based on what is written in the case and based on your external analysis and internal analysis. And you want to provide some strategic advice to Tesla, then you can be open to everything. Even you want to suggest Tesla to make a freight, and put it in the car, that's fine. That's your choice. So be open when you want to make strategic advice to Tesla. In the case, you can see it's manufacturing and sales as well. So it does take a little bit of time to go through the case, and you can figure out, here and there, like little bit everything is included. So it does include the manufacturing part of the industry as well in the case. So have a look, have another look at the case. So these are the case questions. Not sure whether you have any question on the case question. So I just go through this so you understand what the question means. So the first question is, please analyze the environment of automotive industry in the US. Based on the analysis, please evaluate Tesla's competitive position in that industry and or segment. So here, this question is for you to analyze the external environment. You can do a macro analysis based on PESTO, about PESTO analysis of the current situation or in the future what might happen, and also industry analysis. You can also include a competitive analysis or strategic group analysis if you want. Whatever framework you want to use, it depends on you. But just remember, you need to link the framework to your answer. So not just put the table there, but do not use the table. So it would be very, very nice to use the table, the information in the table as evidence. So you answer the question, you'll say, according to the analysis in the table, the social factor is opportunity, for example, and what happened and how Tesla positioned itself, this like this. I'm trying. Yeah, I try to give some guidance. I don't tell you exactly, what to do, but also be creative and also check the benchmark report, so you will have more idea. And I will talk to the Starbucks case on Tuesday as well. The questions are very, very similar to Tesla's case. So by doing this, the warm-up case, I'm sure it will benefit you doing Tesla's case as well. So second question is, please perform an internal analysis on Tesla's resources and capabilities and evaluate how well it is performing. So this question is obviously it's the internal analysis of Tesla's resources and capabilities. You can do a VRIO or VRIO analysis of different types of resources, not only one, otherwise you not have many things to write about. There are so many. Just give you a few: the financial resources, the cost control. That's Tesla's master plan, and also the technology development. Logistics might be a very important resources as well. Manufacturing process, human resources, managerial resources, leadership skills. So, all of these resources and capabilities, you don't have to distinguish very clearly resources and capabilities. If you don't want to, just put everything as resources. That's fine. The key thing here, I think, if you want to really, really tackle this case, is to think about what resources are actually their core competency and which one really leads to sustain the competitive advantage, which one might be just contribute to a competitive parity, or some of them are even competitive disadvantage, and what they should do. So the first two questions, question 1 and question 2, are actually preparing you for question 3. So you do external analysis and then internal analysis, and then it actually smooths you your way to question 3. So question 3 is, please critically evaluate Tesla's current strategy. So you read the case, you will figure out what Tesla is doing in terms of strategy, and also watching the video will help you figure out as well. What challenges, opportunities does the company face? For example, you can, again, I'm just, showing you, this might be a good way to do it. You have some tables and figures in question 1 and question 3, for example, and for question 3, you can refer to the evidence in the table that you use for question 1 and 2. You say, according to table 1, and then these are the opportunities and challenges in the industry or in the macro environment or in the resources and capabilities they are facing. What are the opportunities and challenges? You can talk about overall opportunities and challenges and how these lead to your strategic advice. So you see all of these things are linked together. So that's a very important thing to think about when you are tackling this case. And what else? Do you have any questions? So treat them as one industry. What is that? Yes, you're talking about the automotive sales and the manufacturing, right? Yes, you can just treat it as one industry. I think the difficult thing here is, as I talked about it during the collaborative session, is to have a clear boundary of the industry. For this case, I want to set a clear boundary, so you don't have this blurriness, and to decide which industry you have to set the boundary. And a family friend just took possession of Tesla vehicle here in Brisbane. Given we are focusing on the US market, should we avoid suggesting global strategy even if we see markets like grow? As I said again, for the advice you want to give to Tesla, be open. So, but your suggestion shouldn't be based on the information. You can have some advice if you have some family or friend who are very likely working in this very amazing company, of course. But try to also link your advice to your analysis and also to the case. You know what I mean? So this assignment is assessed according to the clarity, logic, and how you present it and how you analyze it using the evidence from the case and the evidence you presented in your tables and figures, for example, not because of someone told you this, right? You need to have evidence, or if it's not clearly written in the case and it's relevant, you can find the relevant resource and list it in your reference list. With regards to the pestle, should we do one for the traditional automotive industry and also one for Tesla to compare? If you think the traditional one, Tesla, is different, you can sort of compare, but my direct intuition is probably not need much to compare because it's the same macro environment, isn't it? It may have a different impact to Tesla and the traditional auto industry because of the market they are targeting, but it doesn't mean that it's a different macro environment. But of course, you can compare in terms of how this macro environment have impact to Tesla, and this impact is different. It's different from the impact that the environment is having to other traditional auto industries. So the impact could be different because of the slightly different market niche that Tesla is targeting. Rachel said, I only mentioned the question as the company does trade beyond US borders. I was not sure how strictly we should limit ourselves to the US market from a recommendations point of view. Okay, so you don't have to limit it only to the US market. So you can have recommendations for internationalization or targeting to overseas market. That's fine. All right. Any other questions regarding the case study questions? These 3 questions. Anything unclear? Wow, that's a very difficult question. What are you really looking for as a standout answer? I cannot give you a, a direct answer for this question, but I will show you some of the how to say. If you have a look at the benchmark report, you will know what are the standout answers according to that case, and the same thing applies to this case. So as I said before, all the things that I mentioned are the critical parts. For example, when you answer the questions, you always have evidence from the case, right? And also you use the frameworks and the theoretical tools that we have in our class to answer this question. You can put it in a table format or figure format or the chart, and try to be specific as well, as I mentioned in Collaborator 2. That if you only put VR and oh yes yes no no, and of course it's not as good as this resource is valuable because this reason, and maybe in the future it will not be valuable because of this reason. So you not only put a yes no answer for the VRINO and analysis of resources and capabilities, but also briefly explain your understanding of why this is valuable, why this is rare, and what could be the possible trend. For example, it will not be rare if this happened. And then it linked to your question 3, because such thing may happen in the future and your resources will not be rare anymore. So I suggest Tesla to do such and such now. So all of this, if you have a really good linkage between the case, your evidence, and the answer, and have a good consistency between all of these questions, and also be specific. Yeah, I think I've touched a lot already. Just sorry, just to clarify, just a pestle on the U.S. automotive industry. Yes, Sarah. Yes, and also you can see from the case, basically you can see lots of the competitors, lots of the companies are already included in the case. Oh, sorry, you're talking about the pestle. Yes. So the pestle information, you can also see them in the case as well. They talk about it, but of course, the case will not present it in a very nicely format that this is the pestle, right? You need to read the case and think about what happened in the macro and environment, in the what happened in from the economic point of view, what happened from the social cultural point of view, what is the trend, right? And how does this trend have opportunity or actually create a threat or some issues to Tesla, and how Tesla is positioning itself within this macro environment, and what happened in the industry. There are so many different forces. Does these forces actually contribute to a better profitable automobile industry or not? If the profitability overall in the entire industry is just reducing, and what is Tesla's strategy to actually maintain its profitability, right, in this industry environment? Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Jason. Thank you so much, Sarah, Richard, Rachel, and also Alison, Brett, and Dan, House, Jenny, Joshua, Carrie, Miranda, and Natalie, Nicholas, Paul. Who else? Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I hope I answered all your questions. I hope the case is interesting to you, and have another close read about it over the weekend. Think about it. I hope it's a nice case, and also not too hard. It's easy for you to tackle. I'm trying to make it as easy and as clear as possible. So if you have any other questions, please post it on Teams. And also, if you want to have a look at the Starbucks case, post it on Teams. I will have a look at it. By Tuesday, our collaborative session, I will talk about the Starbucks case again, about the 5 questions, and it may, you may have some more ideas and that you want to add, or do some changes. You still have time. I will talk about it on Tuesday next week. So the word count is 1,500 total. Yes, plus or minus 10%. Yes, that's the word count. So try to balance the word count equally to each question. So approximately 500 words per question. All right, guys, thank you so much, and have a lovely, lovely weekend. And I see you next week on Tuesday in the collaborative session. And also stay active and post your answers on Starbucks, on Teams, and wish you have a lovely weekend. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.